I want to leave my husband, even though he tells me he loves me every day. Welcome to Reddit Minutes. Here you will find complete stories from Reddit users. I, 35F, have been married to my husband, 29M, for almost 8 years now, but I feel like I can't waste more of my life being with him. He wants to keep fighting to save the relationship, but I don't feel like there is anything left to save. A little background: we were both raised in the same high-control religion that didn't want us to be dating and tried to force us apart. I didn't feel like they had the right to do so, so I got rebellious and just eloped with him, as they can't separate a married couple. They did, however, disfellowship and shun us, meaning we lost all our friends and family. Contact was minimal. I felt like it was my husband and I against the world and thought we would be strong together for having fought together to escape the religion and find our place in the Word. Things didn't quite work out like that. While I worked to process my feelings and put the past behind me, he got consumed with hate and was always complaining. For the first couple of years, I worked to provide for us while he was unemployed and gaming all day, not doing any household chores. We decided together that we both needed to get an education that would secure us financial freedom when we both got a decent paying job afterward. I worked hard on my education, where I had a paid internship and studied simultaneously. My husband, on the other hand, put in minimal effort in his studies and got several warnings about being kicked out because of low attendance. With only one semester left, he dropped out for mental reasons. This was also my last semester, and I now had the added stress of him dropping out, his breakdown, my grandmother dying, and my brother being terminally ill. It got so bad that I even broke down in front of my boss, crying because the pressure was so hard on me and I was getting so far behind. I didn't think I would make it. I am so grateful that I have an amazing boss who helped me so much and almost carried me through the rest of my study, so that I could graduate last summer, and also gave me a full-time job at the same place right after. It is now almost 1.5 years ago since my husband dropped out, and he is still just home, doing nothing other than gaming, drinking, and sleeping. I had to drag him to a psychiatrist after he kept talking about harming himself. After a line of sessions and medical treatment, they say that he is no longer clinically depressed and recommended that he talk with a psychologist to work through past traumas and also get a job, because it would be good for him to get out of the house. He did none of that. He is just back to gaming, drinking even more and sleeping. During all of this, I have become more lonely in our marriage. When I told my husband about feeling so overwhelmed, like I couldn't breathe, he just accused me of piggyback riding on his depression to get attention. A few months ago, we had a big fight because I felt something he did was very inconsiderate. During the heat of it, he admitted that he was so embarrassed about my physical appearance that he had even canceled a gaming night at our place with some friends he met online. I was so disappointed. How dare he be embarrassed of me, the woman who has supported him for all these years and fought to get an education to give us a better life. While he, for the most part, has just been a lazy slob with a drinking problem, neither contributing to the household financially or by doing any chores. Ever since this argument, I have refused to tell him I love him and pulled away all affection. I was so hurt by this. I began thinking about how I would be better off alone than in a marriage with someone who tells me he loves me but does nothing to show it. To me, it feels like empty words. My brother recently died, and we buried him last week. My husband hates that this has resulted in me spending way more time with my family, who I had gone low contact on since we left the religion. Losing my brother kinda puts everything into perspective, and I think most of my family agrees that differences in opinion about religion and life choices shouldn't keep us apart. After the burial, my closest family was gathered in my family home. I don't know why my husband insisted on coming when he always says how much he hates my family, including my brother, but I guess he wanted to look like a supportive husband. However, he drank way too much, enough for people to notice. On the way home, he started complaining about a joke my mother had made that he found very rude and talked about what a horrible woman she is. Then he started talking about how my dead brother probably had some pedo tendencies. I was so offended that he dared to talk about my brother that way on the day we fucking buried him. When we got home he wanted to continue drinking, but I said that I thought he had enough. Then he got angry, complaining how he felt trapped in a loveless marriage and I couldn't even tell him I loved him. He set an ultimatum, saying that I had to say that I loved him or it was over between us. I didn't want to be pressured or threatened like that, so I just told him, so be it, and slept on the couch that night. The next day I go to work and stop on the way home to buy moving boxes, just to show him that I take this serious. He is in total disbelief. He calls his mother, who comes over and tries to smooth things over and says we are so good together and we just need to talk out our differences. His mother is a wonderful woman, but I also know she of course does what is best for her son. He definitely needs me more than I need him, and without me it would again fall on his parents to take care of him, since he seems to be unable to do anything on his own. For the past week since this incident, he has been so nice and acting like nothing has happened. He keeps hugging and kissing me and telling me he loves me. Kinda feels like love bombing to convince me to stay. But I am still looking for an apartment, and my family is on standby to help me move whenever I find a place. I try not to confront my husband or reject him too harshly, just so that we can keep the peace while I plan my way out. I kinda feel like a bad person for leaving him while he is going through depression, but I also feel like 8 years is a long time to wait for him to figure out his shit. I feel like I am pushing back my own issues because I need to be strong for both of us. I have always put everyone else's needs before mine, but I really just want to be selfish now for once in my life and take care of me. Thanks to anyone who has listened to my rant. I just needed to vent how I feel and maybe get other people's thoughts on it. I just feel like going crazy dealing with this on my own. Edit. Okay, I never expected that this many people would read and respond to my post. I try to read through every comment, and although I can't respond to everyone, I want you all to know that I am very grateful that you are taking the time to read my story and write encouraging words. Some has been asking about the comment my husband made about my late brother, and no, he doesn't know anything I don't. He often makes offensive comments about other people and especially minorities, and claim it is just a dark sense of humor. My brother and him always hated each other, so it's nothing new to make rude comments about him, but him being dead now and on the day we buried him should have made it obvious that it would be very inappropriate. The trauma my husband is working through is the religious trauma, same as me, and also low self-esteem from previous relationship. Update. People have been asking for an update on my story, so here it comes. First of all, I want to thank everyone who took the time to read and comment on my original post. Seeing so many people understand and empathize helped give me a lot of courage to act. A recap for those who haven't read my original post: essentially I, 35F, didn't feel my husband, 29M, contributed to the household and marriage as I was the only one working to provide and doing all household chores, while he was just sleeping, gaming and drinking excessively. He kept telling me he loved me, but it felt like it was only words when there was no actions to back it up. The way he disrespected both my mother and brother after my brother's funeral was the last straw for me that made me seriously want to leave him. Now to the update. After avoiding each other for like a week and not speaking, we finally sat down and talked it out. I made it clear to him that I had made up my mind and that I was going to divorce him and I was going to move out. He was surprisingly calm and said he understood why I felt that way. In his opinion, I was making a mistake and he wanted us to work it out, but he did not blame me for wanting to leave him. The days following our talk was more tough on me than I had anticipated. Instead of avoiding each other, he was now nice to me and we were able to have somewhat normal conversations. It made me remember how things used to be and it was hard to hold back my tears. Even now when I write this I can't hold back my tears. I really did love him, and I thought he was the one I was going to grow old with. It is a very tough decision to leave him and actually go through with it, but I knew I had to be strong and not doubt myself. I was lucky to find a great apartment in walking distance from my work, where I could move in with very short notice. My mother and one of my brothers each lend me half of the money for the deposit, since I hadn't been able to put any money aside while having to support my husband. A few days before I moved out I filed for divorce online. In my country we have the option to get divorced directly without any separation period if both parties agree on it and can agree on how to split assets. I didn't really care about any of the stuff in our home and would rather just get it over with, and not give him any reason to fight me on it. So I just suggested that I took everything I brought with me when we got married and a few big items I was the only one who used. I don't know if he would have made it more difficult if I asked for more, but it was not worth it taking the chance. He agreed to the conditions and we could file for divorce. After 1 month of processing time, we got our divorce papers, so now I am officially divorced. I have a long time of healing ahead of me, but I have no doubt in my mind that I made the right decision. I am spending a lot of time with my family after having been low contact for years. Not long before all of this happened, my oldest brother had died after being sick for a long time. He was really looking forward to meeting our first nephew, the son of our youngest brother. He never got to meet him though, as he died on the same night the baby was born and at the same hospital. Now, I don't really care that much about babies and probably don't want any of my own, but this little guy is so precious to me. When I hold him in my arms, everything is okay. He for sure is gonna be spoiled rotten by his auntie. It sounds a bit cliché, but I am now spending the time finding myself and my place in this world. I feel love and support from my family, so even though I am now alone, I don't really feel alone. As for my ex, we still keep in touch and are on friendly terms. He seems to be doing better and is finally being forced out of his comfort zone to be able to take care of himself. He tells me he still hopes that one day, maybe years from now, we will find our way back together. Although I would wish we could just start over and make it work, it doesn't really work like that. Usually people just fall back into old habits. Even if I had to spend the rest of my life alone, it is preferable to a destructive relationship. If you liked the video, I would appreciate it if you would leave a like, comment, subscribe and share the video to reach more people. The background video does not belong to me, full credit to PO Travel. For more information check the description of this video. Have a great day.